No, let's get our first speaker on. It's my proud to invite Greg Mungos from New York. He's the lead organiser of the Fast Food Forward. He led thousands of workers in non-union workplaces in New York, and they all came together and helped to lead the strikes. Okay, Greg.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate the fact that you guys, sit here and listen how, I'm gonna share a little bit of what's going on in the United States. Thanks the Bakers Union to have me here and show the United Kingdom the fact that United States workers, fast food workers, basically stand up and they start a fight. It's amazing because, let's be honest, we all here because fast food workers all over the world have the same struggle.
And the speakers stand up?
Yeah. Sure, of course. We're all here because fast food workers have the same struggle all over the world. But it's not only fast workers, it's every single worker who don't really have a union and don't really have respect at work. That's why we're here together today. But in the United States, some around 2 years ago, fast food workers was really tired and fed up, and they decided to do something about it. And the only thing that they can do is go on a strike and demand to form a union. It was amazing. I was one of those fast food workers who basically started out from my job and decided to go on a strike. It's something that I can't really describe. It's the first time that you basically decided to do something like going on a strike. When you be working in this company for so long and you think that you don't have no more choice than keep working and making the same money and don't have respect, and then you find out that you have another choice that is going on a strike, that's amazing. That's great. So in New York City, those workers went on a strike. We went on a strike. So we send a message to the corporation. And that message is basically that we're not gonna back up until we get what we want. And it's exactly how we've been doing since 2012. We've been going on a strike. We already have 7 strikes when more and more people are coming together, more community people, more politicians being supporting the campaign and supporting the fast food worker. Because at the end of the day, fast food workers and regular workers creating a union and making more money is good for every single person in the city. It's good for the city. It's good for the state. It's good for the government. It's good for the country. So this is the message. When you and all the people come together and don't really back up until you see some good response. It's not easy. You're not gonna see a good response right away. But if you keep going and maintain your team strong, you're gonna see something good. You're gonna see that all the people back you up, that they support you, because everybody have the same problem, have the same struggle. So in United States, I think we grow basically it's like 150 cities right now. The last strike went on a strike. And we potentially are going to keep growing. We're going to have another strike. We're going to keep striking, and we're going to keep growing. And the way that we do that is basically getting united, getting the people together. I am a legal organizer in New York, and the way that I do is I just go and talk to the fast food worker, and I give them the choice. It is only 2 choices. You know, I really have an honest conversation with the fast food worker, and when they really realize that it's true what I'm saying, like you are working in this fast food restaurant, you don't really have another choice than work. And your manager disrespect you, the company pay you really, really bad, right? So what are you're already in a bad situation. These fast food workers are already living one of the worst situations in the world. So it's just about having an honest conversation with them and frame the choice and be like, what do you want to do? Or you want to keep making minimum wage and living and suffering in this fast food restaurant forever. And even if you leave the fast food restaurant, you will find another job and you're gonna have the same problem, because this problem is everywhere. So, or you keep making the minimum wage and having this disrespect, or you decided to stand up and fight. And fight not only you, but yourself, fight with other people and for other people. Because this is not about being you do something by yourself. This is about come with a group of people and demand and show the company that the way that we attack is being strong and being united and being like more strong. And I will say not only strong. I really want to say like crazy. In order to be like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes. If I have to sit down like Alvin Mayor did in the middle of Times Square, sit down and wait until the cops come and move me, I will do it. If I have to, fool the fast food restaurant of people and show the money and their money, or show the corporation that we are crazy, but yes, we want justice. That's why we're crazy. So if we have to do it, that's the way that we're going to force the corporation that we're not going to stop until we win. So that's exactly how United States and fast food workers in the United States been doing it. And it works. It works. We basically have a group of people that basically go out and talk to the fast food worker, and then we get contact information. Then we set up like a little meeting. We talk about how we're gonna do it and what's the plan. And this fast food worker decided to do it. Perfect, because that's another person that's gonna join the army and gonna attack the corporation. So I really encourage people in UK, every single person in here. I really encourage everyone to go out, and if you know a fast worker, talk to them. Just tell them you have two choices: this or this. What do you want to do? You want to fight? Okay, come with me. Let's fight. Because united, all the countries, that's the only way that we're gonna really sit down the corporation at one table and get a fair contract for the fast food workers. Thank you.
Now we've got Brian Kennedy, the Unite convener for the One Housing Group. Fortunately for his union activities, he got sacked. That's all I can say about that. It's a terrible thing. But yeah, Brian Kennedy. Thank you very much.
I didn't know why they were going to call me for 0 hours contracts. I actually thought that was a sort of an indication of what they thought my employment prospects were. And they're absolutely right. 10 years, no reference. I've actually done a couple of relief shifts so far this week. And this is it, I mean, you go there, straight away, signed on, sanctioned straight away. It's just unbelievable. And raising consciousness is my favourite expression. I use it all the time. I never hear anyone else apart from you. It's like fantastic, But even though I feel I've got the consciousness, but you never know what it's really like till you get there. And I'm there, I forgot what it's like. Signing on 15 years ago was different. Now they're just catching you out for everything. I'm quite a capable, educated person. And they're actually really, really doing their best not to pay you. As for 0 hours contracts, or we call them relief or casual or whatever, yeah, I don't have to worry about getting sacked this time. If they don't like me, they just don't call me back. I don't have to worry about being sick. If I'm sick, I just don't get paid. It's, I used to have a final salary pension. I just get nothing now. It's great. And as you say, like, for your living wage, you can't live on the living wage. Anyone, if it doesn't matter, if you talk to anyone, the Weatherspoons or a street sweeper or anything, 10 quid. That's what we need. And I tell you what, it would pay for itself. I keep hearing all the campaigns for the 10 quid, but I tell you what, everyone I know that's on a casual contract is getting tax credits. We are just subsidising rogue employers. It has to stop. we tried, in our workplaces, and these are basically, they're funded from rents and from public money, and where the union was there, we were able to get the same money for 0 hours people. We were able to get them the regulated status after the 13 weeks. Where we were even stronger in places like St. Mungos actually even had campaigns to get the 0 hours people on, and they came out on strike. What we need to do is, like, where we have a union in the workplace, is actually just stamp it out. There's always been agency staff, there's always been casual staff. We've had them in everything, in public sector, in post offices, in mail, all that sort of stuff. But what they're doing is, like, every job now is a 0 hours job. We've got to stop it. There is absolutely no substitute for a real job. There's no substitute for real pay. And the fact that the taxpayer is actually paying, to top up wages, it's a false economy. If we pay people a decent wage, not the living wage, a real wage, 10 quid, we'd be better off. Put the money back into the workers' pockets. They call it a consumer economy, but no one has the money to buy anything. It's a myth. Stamp it out. Make it illegal.
Right, the last speaker today is a good buddy, best mate, and the vice president, not vice president, that's me, isn't it? Yeah. The national president of the Bakers Union in Hodson.
Sisters and brothers, it's always great to come to the United Resistance. Obviously, this is a bit on 0 hours, and obviously I think probably the relationship with the Bakers Union and 0 hours is one that is a very successful campaign that says, you bring 0 hours in our workplace, we get a mandate, we go on strike, and not only we go on strike, but we're going to win that strike as well. And we won that strike because of the strength of the labour movement. We won that strike because people in our labour movement saw how people were being treated and thought that the best thing to do is to stand together and support people who were prepared to go and take action, not for themselves, not for the better themselves, not to get better wages for themselves or better terms and conditions, but to fight for people who weren't even in the workplace, who decided that it was more important to make sure that when they did come in the workplace, they were on the same terms and conditions as them, rather than going onto a contract that enabled the company to reduce pay, not just for the people that was going to be brought in on those 0 hours contracts, but also those agency workers who were also going to suffer the consequences of a 0 hours contract, because it meant the company could then use that as a comparator to say, right, well, what we can do now is we can pay the agency worker less and get around the agency workers' directives. And that's what employers have done. They've been able to bring in contracts normally called a second generation contract or a third generation contract, and now a 0 hours contract, to enable them to get around legislation that enables people to be paid less and have worse terms and conditions. And that's why the strike at Hovis was such an important dispute and such an inspirational dispute, because when workers decide that they're prepared to take action, to stand up for somebody who's in their workplace, who isn't on the same terms and conditions as them, then I believe that's inspirational, and I believe that gives a lead to a labour movement that's much needed. What was disappointing about the strike is that it happened at the same time as INEOS, and all the media wanted to talk about was INEOS, because that looked like a defeat, rather than what we achieved at Hovis, which was an absolutely fantastic victory, and those people should be doing throughout history, because that's what they were. Unbelievable inspirational fighters for our class. And that's why I believe that the 0 hours contract issue is a massive issue for the labour movement, and every trade union should be organising to say, bring 0 hour contracts, and we're going to do the same as what they did at Hovis and Wigan. We're going to stand together, we're going to get a mandate, we're going to go on strike, because I'll tell you what, once they're in, the only way is down. The only way is down. And you shouldn't have to be begging your union leadership to stand by you. They should be standing by you, because that's what trade unions are here to do. Stand by the people and their members. And we should never allow trade union leaders to get away with not standing by you. I mean, obviously I know I have to refer to myself as a bureaucrat, because that's what I am. I'm a national officer of a trade union. But I'll tell you what, I'm told to do what my members want me to do, and that's how every trade union should operate. A bottom-up organisation, because without their members, we're absolutely nothing. That's what we are. We're a collection of people that come together and combine, and we're a trade union because of that. And when we stand together, we fight together, we will win together. And the most important aspect of this part of the process today is to also hear from other people who's been in disputes. And obviously I want to pay tribute to our comrades that's come over from America, the United States fast food strikers. Their story this morning is so inspirational. And obviously Alvin, not only to give a great speech, but to survive a night out with the Bakers Union. I absolutely congratulate. Absolutely congratulate. Obviously the other crew couldn't watch the night with the Bakers Union, but Alvin managed to succeed in spending quite a few hours with us and still deliver a great speech this morning. But I think what's also inspirational is to hear everybody's stories that's gone on. And wherever I go and there's a picket line, I always take the opportunity, if they allow me to speak on that picket line. And one of the things that I always get told is the inspiration that they was given by the Hovis dispute on the 0 hours contract gave them the confidence to fight back. If that's what it does for our class, then that's an absolutely fantastic achievement, an unbelievable foundation, a foundation that will make us go stronger, because we do need to win. We do need to take back what they've taken off us. The All Grieve Justice campaign that was being held up the road yesterday, calling for justice for those people who were so badly done to. Scargill told the truth. Scargill told the truth, and we now know Thatcher lied. What a shame we had to wait till she died to find out the truth. What an absolute shame. But I'll tell you what, that was the start. That was the start of the decline in our class. That was the start of the race to the bottom, because they knew to smash the working class, they had to smash our organisations. Now what we should be calling on is the TUC to demand an apology from the Conservative Party. And if that Conservative Party doesn't forthcome on the lies that they told about our class, about our movements, then they should do the only thing that they should have done in 1984 and call a general strike and stand by every single labor person in this country. We should never allow the working class to be demonised in the way that the miners were. Support for All Grieve Justice campaign, support for those people that were crucified and lied about, solidarity to you. I believe this is about 0 hours, so I'm back to the chairman for a question and answer session.
Comments from the floor, please. Yeah.
Solidarity greetings from Edinburgh College, where I'm the branch secretary of the Edinburgh Institute, we think of it as Edinburgh Institute, it's the Educational Institute of Scotland. We were forced to merge 2 years ago, and we were absolutely gobsmacked as a college that we had inherited over 100 0 hours contract lecturers. We jumped up and down about it for a year with management and HR. Just the same sort of thing as in the university said. They actually like the flexibility. Do they fuck like this flexibility, right? So they then tried to attack our conditions, to put us on to over a 56-hour working week whenever, and that would have been over 100 jobs. You know, all the casual workers would have gone if we'd accepted that attack. So we thought, we're not going to mess about, we just run college on our own, but we just went on all-out indefinite strike. And what was quite interesting was that the day before the strike, our EIS headquarters, the union headquarters, had to stay up until 7:30 at night processing the dozy buggers that had forgotten to join the union before that. We've been doing our best. So there was a big, huge queue of applications, and they said to the people on 0 hours, don't come in tomorrow, the college is likely to be shut down by these people going on strike, so you won't get paid. And the 0 hours lecturers said, that's all right, because we're on strike as well. And that's what they did. They came along with us, and it strengthened us fantastically, because we were looking right at the people. If we had thrown in the towel, and it was a scary time, obviously, But if we had thrown in the towel, it was them that was going to lose their jobs. So when we won, we won a 22% increase for everyone on 0 hours. We won an 8% reduction in their workload. They're on exactly the same as the best in the college. And we have just got rid of the last of the shitty contracts out of the building, and everybody's on proper contracts, nobody's on casual contracts, and we have just said goodbye to the principal, so good luck to that.
My name is Alvin, and I am a pensioner, and before working as a social worker, and I'm asking a question and then talking a little bit. One question is that at the moment, workers at McDonald or fast food, are they actually now in strike or not? Practically now, are they in strike or not?
The workers on strike?
Yeah.
Are they on strike or what?
If all the workers striking?
Yeah, at the moment.
Yeah. So at this moment, like I said at the beginning, workers, the first group of workers was around 200 workers. Since that, workers all over the country being getting together, and I don't really have the exact number right now, but it's some about 300 to 400 or 300 workers per every city that go on strike. So if we calculate that, it's just like we got 150 cities that went on strike. Every city strike like 200 to 400 workers. That's going to be, I don't know, a really big amount of workers. And we really growing. Day by day, workers jump into the campaign because they see that this is the only option that we have, so we can leave, so they can live in a better way. So right now, honestly, I don't know exactly the number, because day by day, workers keep jumping.
About 80,000.
Did you set up your own union, or did you join a big one?
So, can you put your hand, come through the chair, please? Yeah.
I just wondered, did you set up your own union, or did you join a big one?
So right now, workers don't have a union.
Oh.
They don't have a union. We're doing this on ourselves. Community and other unions who want to support is basically the motto of the fast food workers. So they don't have a union. If somebody get fired, there is not exactly a union backing up. It's just workers, demanding justice. It's just worker going into the restaurant and fight back. Right now we are working and create a union. This is, we got a lot of support, we got a lot of unions, we got a lot of politicians, we got a lot of community all over the New York State and the whole country, but those workers don't have a union yet.
It's not often anybody can say that it's a good thing to live in Wigan. But I'm a delegate for Wigan Trades Council because I'm a member of Unite. And on the first day of the Hovis dispute, I was asked to go up and show some solidarity. And I've been on picket lines before, but this was something different. They weren't just, as Ian said at one of the meetings that I went to, it was a Hovis issue, but it was a national, Hovis dispute, but it was a national issue. 0-hour contracts needed to be addressed. The fact that people, generations, were being condemned to poverty needed to be addressed. And the fact that permanent workers were striking for the rights of agency workers, strike to accord with not just people of Wigan, but nationally. And they got the support of everyone. They got the support of the local trades council, other trades council, trade unions, and that solidarity really, really intensified the action. It made strikers who'd never been on strike before feel proud, right? Realise what they were doing wasn't just for themselves, wasn't just for their children, but for everyone else. And that made everyone feel like they were part of the dispute. you know, it's resonated through Britain, but in Wigan we've had quite a few disputes lately. We've had an essential car user dispute in the council just a few weeks ago. It's still ongoing. Stagecoach have been striking over paying conditions, and it's really resulted in raised consciousness through the country, and that's what dispute does. It makes people feel like they're part of it. And solidarity is the key. And as Ian said before, one of the main things was bureaucracy was accountable. And that is one of the things about the Bakers Union. The bureaucracy is accountable. They're accountable to the rank and file. And that makes everyone feel like they have a part to play. The Bakers Unions are also really, really strong in things like stand up to UKIP. They're good. Now I've got a part-time job. I've got a decent hourly wage, but I'm on really bad hours. And the difference is we need to be the difference in the workplace. Wherever we work, we need to make sure that we are unionised, our work colleagues are unionised, because the only way we can make a difference is to be in a union and stand together and strike together, because collectively we're stronger, and we can take heart from the America with the fast food dispute, from Hovis dispute, and from every dispute, because as I said, and I'll finish on this, the only way we can make a difference is to stand together and fight together.
Hi, I'm a rep at St Mungos Broadway, and I just wanted one of the things that happens in our workplace is all the normal staff are on full-time contracts, but we have an internal bank of locum workers who are employees, but they're on 0 hours contracts, and therefore if we're off sick, if we're on annual leave, then they come in and cover out work. And one of the ways in which I think we were able to win this dispute is long before this dispute started, we had unionised most of those locum workers. Those people have been paying in for, some of them have been paying in for 10 years to the union. And then when we said we were going on strike, it became apparent that these people were not going to get strike pay because they were on 0 hours contracts, which we as a workforce thought was awful and put pressure on our union, and eventually they decided they would pay them strike pay. So all locums on 0 hours contracts who went out are now going to get exactly the same money. And I think this is something we need to be talking about in unions generally, because we want people on 0 hours contracts to feel like they can go on strike, to feel like they are part of unions, to feel like they have support. If they're not going to get strike pay and they're already on really low pay, it makes the situation very difficult for them. And it is a little bit more complicated to pay them strike pay because they don't get deductions in their pay slip, but I think it's worth thinking a way around it. So that was something that was really useful. The other reason that 0 hours contracts are a really big problem for unions is because you can't cover a striking worker with an agency member of staff, but you can with somebody who is already employed by you but on a 0 hours contract. So what our employer tried to do in the weeks before our strike, starting from when we balloted, is they hired a load more 0 hours contract workers to try and get those people to cover our work. Luckily, most of them didn't. Most of them joined with us and went on strike, and that's why we were successful. But as long as we have 0 hours contracts, employers will be able to hire them in the run-up to a strike and get them to cover work without, breaking the law, technically.
And I'm sure I'm not supposed to be saying any of these things. But by the same token, I'm a trade union member and I do have the luxury of a full-time contract, unlike many of the people that I seek to represent as a union rep in the BEC2 Media Workers Trade Union. And the idea that everybody loves being on a casual contract, I can't believe that when I see people practically in tears when they come to tell me the way they've been spoken to, and the quite frankly untrue things that are said to them about their status. One of the things I say to people, they get told, if you join the trade union, it's far too expensive for you. And so I say, well, actually, we've got a special new members rate, and actually, if you add up all the amount what you spend on drink and magazines every month, I think you'll find it's less. It's more, than what we're asking you to pay as a trade union. So I think we do have to crack some of those myths. It's different in different unions, I appreciate that, but I think those are the kind of things we do have to look at. And I think that we can really thank the Hovis workers and the fast food workers who've been so brilliant at this conference, really for the fact that I feel there is starting to be a sea change and a shift really in how people who are on casual contracts and 0 hours contracts are starting to perceive themselves. Recently somebody came to me and she said, I know we've got a pay dispute coming up, we might be on strike. Last time there was a strike, I crossed the picket line. I cannot bear to do that again. I don't think I benefit from the pay rise you might get, but I want to join the union anyway, even though I'm a casual worker. Another fixed term, sort of constant rolling 6-month contracts is what they often get. She emailed me to tell me that she'd joined the union after we'd had a bit of a chat, and I explained to her she was eligible for the pay rise that we might get, as she had been told that she wasn't. She really was, and she'd asked her friend to join as well. So these are the sorts of things that are starting to happen when we start to organise. And recently I've been trying to organise in my section. I called the meeting, it was about redundancies. No one came. Well, the union wasn't fighting on that. All right, they didn't come. All right, I'll email them. I told them I'm meeting with management. I'm going to raise the question of casual and short-term contracts. I've requested the figures. I said I wish to see these figures. Thank you very much, and they have supplied me with the figures. Oh, then I got the emails back saying, oh, when can we come to that meeting? When can we have a meeting about that? This is the thing that I think is exercising us, and I think the labour movement, the trade union movement, really has to get its back behind these things. These are big employers treating people like this, and I think that this is, and I think the trade unions are now realising if they want to recruit their unions, actually they have to focus on this issue. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to keep their unions going.
Thank you.
I'm a trade union rep, but I actually didn't want to talk about my workplace. I wanted to make more general points because, and I think it's been very revealing what's come out of this meeting. I mean, if you think that 130 years ago today, gas workers and dockers were in London, along with Eleanor Marx, fighting for the 8-hour day and the 5-day week, and now we've got a situation where 45% of UK workers are working more than 50 hours a week. And 1 in 5 NHS workers have to get a second job to make ends meet. So we really are going back to Victorian times. And I think what we've seen is the way that the Tories have used the crisis to restructure the labour market, driving down wages and casualising labour. And that's what we're all facing at the moment. But I think we really need to, what's really important to be conscious of is that even though they talk about a recovery, this recovery is not going to be like recoveries in the past, where there's been a kind of increase in wages and an increase in jobs, because there isn't going to be a trickle down this time, because the rich aren't investing in jobs and they're not investing in wages. They're investing in property, which is actually impoverishing us further, because you've got a situation where the rich are getting richer and they're making us poorer because they're driving up the cost of living and our wages are going down. And I think what this raises is the really big questions that I want to raise, because I'm the trade unionist and socialist candidate in Tottenham coming up in the general election. I think the questions that are being raised by the current situation in the labour market are, is there a solution in capitalism? Can capitalism deliver? And more people, they're actually looking around and they're saying, well, actually, no. And when you've got a key public figure like Russell Brand talking about revolution, and you've got people all over the place saying, well, actually, no, capitalism isn't working. Part of the role of socialists is to say, well, yeah, we have got a solution, and that solution is revolution. But that's going to kind of come about from socialists in the workplace, organising our side, so that we're not just going to go for the crumbs, but we want to go for the whole damn bakery and change the system.
Okay, really, just in summing up in relation to 0 hours, in the 1980s I was unemployed, and what unemployment meant then was if you had no hours, you had no guarantee of pay. You went down and you signed on. What happens today, of course, is if you've got no hours and no guarantee of pay, the spin doctor extraordinaire Cameron and his cronies have come up with a fabulous thing called a 0 hours contract, because that's exactly what a 0 hours contract is. It's unemployment. That's exactly what it is. And you've got to say who benefits from a 0 hours contract. It isn't the individual, it's the government, because the government's using it to massage the figures, to hide the reality of what's happening in our society. And what we have to do is get out there and explain to people and tell them what the alternative is. And that alternative is saying that we won't accept 0 hours contracts, not in our workplace, not in our society, not in our community. We're going to stand up and we're going to say that we're not going to accept them and we're going to fight back. And that's just what I'm going to say and wind it up.
Well, I mean, 0 hours is just the symptom of capitalism failing. And I'm just going to be blunt. I usually say clever things, but exploitation is wrong. If capitalism is failing, replace it. I'm going to go with the candidate from Tottenham. It's rubbish, and if they can't run it, we'll run it our bloody selves.
We know a union is not a company. We know a union are people coming together and fight back the bosses. No matter how strong they are, no matter how rich they are or powerful, the people can move any company when they come together. People can do whatever they want. They can change whatever they want when they fighting for one issue. And that's exactly how, and that's exactly why people in the United States and UK are coming together, because we're not gonna take the companies, say, keep disrespecting and pay low wages to the workers. We're gonna fight back, and we're not gonna stop until we win. So I wanna highlight this, use this opportunity to highlight this event. We're gonna have a strike on April 15th. April 15th, we really the point is basically to have a really mass march and show the companies that the whole world is coming in one voice, and they have to listen. So this is gonna be a really important day. Put it in your calendar. If you're thinking to do something, this is the day that we should do something. This is the day that we should be united and attack back the company who's attacking all workers. Thank you.